Sorry. All right, we're here with Alena Sharp with a nice 3 under 69. Alena, it was an up and down roller coaster kind of round. Started with 3 birdies, little ups and downs in the middle, but then closed with 2. Overall, what are your big takeaways from today?
Well, it was a nice start. I was 4 under through 5, so it's been a tough season, and to start out well in a major is really important. No matter how you're playing in the year, but to come to this one and have a good start, and just to kind of now I can chill a little bit and relax for tomorrow, and not have to, I've been kind of been behind after round one, having to play a really good Friday. So it's nice to have maybe a little bit more of a stress-free Friday coming up, which is nice.
And you put yourself in that situation. You said 4 under through 5, but I want to look at those closing 2 birdies. That's always a great way to close around. If you could talk us through those last 2 holes.
Well, had some tricky downhill putts, and 17, I mean, I was hitting the ball so far. 17 was playing 143, and it's normally like an 8 iron, and I hit 9 iron to the back of the green. I'm like, oh boy, this is a tough putt, and I made it. I mean, 39 feet in the hole. Like, it's like, okay, I'll take that at a major. And then on the last hole, I had another downhiller, but made a good stroke, and it went in. So putting was pretty solid, which has been kind of not so solid all year. So it's nice to have a good solid putting day on some pretty tricky greens.
Awesome. We'll start here with Steve.
I was actually going to ask you about that because your putting hasn't looked great, and suddenly it looked great. Has there been some change that you've made?
Well, I didn't get into match play in the U.S. Open, and my coach came down from Canada, and we worked on my putting for like 12 days in a row. Hardcore, like putting in the time. We had to change something in my setup, and then just reps and reps and reps. And now as I'm out here practicing these last few tournaments, I'm continuing to challenge myself on the putting green instead of just putting around. I'm actually, keeping track of my stats on the putting green. So when I get out to the course, it'd be like, oh, I made, 70 of these putts this week. So that's been the big change. I think gaining a little bit more confidence too. I think putting's all about feel and confidence, and I didn't have either, but now they're slowly coming back.
Was the setup thing to help you see the line better? Or
I was really aiming left. I was aim left quite a bit, and I got away with it on the left to rights, but on the right to lefts, I was missing them low. And, it's like I've played golf for 16 years, and I knew I was missing them low, and I thought I was aiming high enough, but my feet were aimed left, and he said basically it's really hard for you to make a putt the way you're set up. So that was kind of nice to, fix the setup and then actually roll some good putts in the practice green.
All right, we're going to go to Zoom. Adam Stanley's on the line. Adam, you can unmute.
Okay. Hey, Alena. Amazing start. That was great to see. I was just wondering, how do you navigate sort of mentally the hot start, the 3 birdies in a row, and then you give the birdies back with the bogeys in the middle of the round, and then still know that you have to finish strong? How did you mentally keep it together out there today?
Well, I could feel myself getting too much into the future, so I took some deep breaths, and I'm working with a new sports psych, 2 of them actually, and just got to be grounded. I just use my senses. I listen to the birds and the wind, and like really could feel the ground under my feet. So I also talked to Sarah about it. I said, I'm getting nervous. Like, I haven't been in this position in a long time, and so that was really helpful, just to kind of stay present. And that's one of my big keys the rest of the year, is be committed to every shot and be present.
When did you start working with the 2 new sports psychologists?
Probably, I would say the one I've started, both of them in April, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great. Thanks, Alena. Great start.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Anything from Karen?
Yes. Alena, why do you think it's hard to admit, even to Sarah, like, I'm nervous? That would seem to the rest of us to be a completely reasonable, natural reaction. But I think, it's hard for you guys to admit that sometimes.
Yeah, I think, sometimes we avoid saying the obvious, thinking we're going to get over it. But I think I've learned over this year, because it's been a struggle, that it's better for me to say that I'm nervous and I'm not feeling great over this shot. So then if Sarah can help me, she can help me. If not, then I can get back to the present, at least get it out instead of thinking over and over, getting it out kind of lets it out, and then you can get on with it.
Yep.
So,
And then, do you feel like in a weird way your putting was an indirect result of the pandemic because your coach, you didn't have easy access to him because of travel restrictions
Right.
and quarantines, so what could have been a fairly easy fix was drawn out?
potentially, and I think, there's a lot of, I think if I'm being completely honest and being out there, there's a lot of things that have led to this putting flaw or whatever. I've gone through it before. They call it the yips. I mean, I've experienced it, and I was feeling it a little bit last year, and then I didn't really deal with it, and I thought it would just go away. And I turned 40, and the pandemic, and it's just like all this stuff, like worrying about my car, like all these things add to anxiety. So my anxiety was so high at A&A. I played with Patty the first 2 rounds, and I hit it just as well as her, but I had a lot of putts, and I
You
missed
looked in tears at points in those rounds.
Right. Yeah, and my anxiety was so high, and it's coming down. Like today, I could tell it was going up again because I was in that position, and like my mental coach said, it rears its ugly head when you're in the heat of the battle, and it's important. So, that was tough today dealing with that, but I battled through, and I have a lot of tools now to get through it, and just accepting that it's always going to be there in the back of my mind, but I do have the tools to break through and kind of beat it. As long as I stay present and I'm not focused so much on the future, it's manageable.
Great. We're good. Awesome. Thanks so
Okay.
much, Alena.
Thank
Great
you.
round.